Now at 9, a local food truck operator talks about handling the intense heat while working. Plus, how children in Joplin can start receiving free meals for the rest of the summer. And what a new report shows about traffic fatalities over the past 10 years and in the 4 states.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Dow Quick. We have dangerous heat and the possibility for severe weather on the 4th of July. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Well, temperatures now starting to cool off, 89 degrees. However, it still feels like 94 out in Joplin. Winds are about 5-10 miles per hour, so a lot lighter than they were before as well. Now it feels like still in the mid to upper 90s, especially in our southern counties. 104 still in Newada, not too bad throughout the rest of the evening and into tomorrow. However, we do still have heat advisory warning until 9 p.m. tomorrow for all of our southern counties. It's not going to be our main concern though. We are looking at some severe weather moving in tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday as well. We dodged a bullet with some storms. They broke up as they moved into the area, so we're mostly staying dry tonight. But like I said, we've got severe weather chances continuing all the way through Thursday. We'll talk about that in just a bit.
See you soon. Summer weather is creating even hotter kitchens in food trucks. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke with food truck workers about how they're managing the heat.
If you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen.
Now in the truck, it probably feels like 105, close to 110.
Food truck workers at Ghetto Tacos in Joplin say the heat is manageable as long as it's being pushed out.
We have some split units, so what we do, we push the heat out. We try to push it out, and then we run some fans and drinking a lot of water.
But it wasn't always that way.
We started under a tent, and we used to push our cooker, and we had a trailer where we pull it all down, but when we started here, in the heat, it was only thing we had was fans, but it was really hot. And now looking back, it's like, man, it was all worth it.
Anything like some?
I do.
Now, 7 years later, Ghetto Tacos has a fleet of trucks and even a brick-and-mortar restaurant in Webb City with proper air conditioning.
Because now you kind of appreciate what you have now, and I do appreciate, and especially the customers. So yes, we went through winter, summer, under a tent.
And the customers appreciate it. Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Ghetto Tacos business was featured on the Food Network's TV show Best Bite in Town in April. A new report shows traffic fatalities have increased by 25% nationwide over the past 10 years. But over the past 2 years, fatalities have dropped by 5%. In this area, Arkansas has seen the biggest drop in fatalities, down 12% from 2021 to 2023. In Oklahoma, they're down 9% over those 2 years. In Kansas, fatalities are down 8%, and in Missouri, just 2%. The transportation research group TRIP highlights some efforts to reduce crashes, including educating drivers about dangerous habits, making vehicles safer, and improving roadway designs. One overturned truck and tons of taters. When the semi rolled on Interstate 49 near Carthage early today, the trailer burst, spilling its load, 41,000 pounds of frozen diced potatoes. The truck was traveling south when it left the road near Dry Fork Creek. The crash extended across the west outer road, blocking it completely. The driver was not seriously hurt. Joplin Public Schools are offering free summer meal services at the Joplin Public Library every day through August 13th. Their goal is to help kids in need avoid food insecurity during the summer when students don't have access to daily school lunch. They're going to be serving lunches such as sandwiches and chips. Students must be 18 or under, though they do not have to attend a Joplin school to qualify for the free meal.
The last day of school might be their last meal that they receive for a while because of the absence of school lunch. So that's why we partner with the library to come here. We partner with Joplin Family Y as well.
Lunches at the Joplin Public Library will be served from 11 a.m. to 11:30 or while the supplies last. Folks in Crawford County got out on the water to enjoy some pre-Independence Day festivities. The Friends of Crawford State Park group hosted its annual Lake Blast event. Featured plenty of food, live music, and was all capped off with fireworks display off the lake's dam.
Just that, there's not always a ton to do, and we like being the spot that people want to come to, hang out for the day. As you can see, we're already getting busy, and we're still 5 hours away from fireworks, so it's just good to see kids and families come out and enjoy the place.
And it's always been very successful, and we just do it as a service to the lake, to the community. We get hundreds of cars coming out. It's really an awesome event.
Volunteers are going to be out there tomorrow morning around 8:30 cleaning up after today's event. Then on Friday and Saturday, the Friends group will host music on the patio events from 6 to 8 p.m. Joplin is getting a fireworks show tonight as well. This is a live look at the Light Up the City event hosted by Hope City Church. Food trucks are there, as well as providing some grub to the hundreds of viewers. That display is going to continue until 9:30. You can find more information on area fireworks shows on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Just in time for Independence Day, a brand new Old Glory. Arvest Bank in Joplin today was the site for the latest flag swap event sponsored by KOAM and Fox 14. Anyone with an old tattered American flag could come out and swap it out for a new one, absolutely free. The old flags will be retired according to the U.S. Flag Code.
To get to interact with so many people in our community and also have that opportunity to help people properly dispose of the American flag that is no longer useful and help them put a fresh new one up. And it's great to drive around the community and see all these fresh new flags out flying.
If you missed today's event, mark your calendar. The next one's going to take place on August 28th at Westco in Neosho, Missouri. Coming up, a new study looks at the dangers of taking daily aspirin, something many seniors still do. Those pesky common colds might have helped protect children from COVID-19. Researchers at Yale School of Medicine analyzed nasal swabs taken during the pandemic and found many children were infected with other respiratory pathogens. They found those frequent infections might have boosted their immune system, protecting them against the worst effects of COVID. It's long been seen as a preventative tool for cardiovascular disease, but recommendations on low-dose aspirin have changed. However, a new study suggests some seniors still take a daily aspirin, and they could be putting themselves at unnecessary risk. Mandy Gaither has more on what everyone should know about the potential dangers of taking aspirin every day when it's not needed.
It's a decades-long belief that seems to be taking some time to debunk. Historically, aspirin has been seen as a tool to help prevent heart disease.
What happened a few years ago was that clinical trial data revealed that in older adults, the benefits of aspirin may not outweigh the risks of aspirin.
In 2019, the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association updated their guidelines to say that aspirin should be used infrequently to prevent a first heart attack or stroke for those with no history of cardiovascular disease.
Aspirin is a blood thinner, so it affects platelet function, so it affects clotting and increases the risk of bleeding.
Dr. Ashish Shiraju with Cleveland Clinic is one of the authors of a new study looking at daily aspirin use across the U.S. since the recommendation changed. They found that in 2021, about 1 in 3 patients 60 and older who did not have a history of heart disease were still taking aspirin every day for prevention. Based on that data, they project about 3 million of those people across the U.S. were taking it without medical advice.
If you have heart disease, oftentimes aspirin is required, and stopping aspirin without the doctor's advice is dangerous. But if you're taking aspirin in the absence of heart disease, it's something that no one's advised you to do, and you're 60 years or older, it's time to have a discussion. Disclose that to your doctor.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The doctor says since aspirin is an over-the-counter medication, a lot of people don't even think to tell their doctor it's being taken, but he says it's important to disclose that information. Specific physical exercise can combat nerve damage during chemotherapy. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine involving 158 cancer patients found those who performed sensorimotor training alongside chemotherapy reduced nerve damage by as much as 70%. They also increased their perceived quality of life. A daily sauna might help prevent menopause-related weight gain. Researchers at the University of Massachusetts Amherst studying mice found 30-minute heat treatments improved metabolic health and insulin sensitivity. They say heat therapy could be an effective, non-invasive solution for managing stubborn belly weight in both women and men. Lindsay is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the NEO Golden Norsemen host a basketball camp for local kids.
Well, it's pretty hot and muggy today, but luckily we're starting to cool off for the next couple days. We'll go ahead and take a look outside at Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. We've got some clouds out there and winds are still picking up about 10-15 miles per hour, but overall it's a pretty nice night. We did have some storms in our western counties, and those are going to continue over the next several hours. But tomorrow we've got a heat advisory still for our southern counties. Temperatures getting up to mid-90s. Heat index values still reaching triple digits, but the rest of us are going to be a lot cooler. This is a cold front that's moving in. Not going to be drastic, but may help us out just slightly. Now, most of the storms did break up as they moved into the area, but we're still looking near Ponca City has some storms that are going to continue to shift into our area, may reach Independence, but we're going to keep an eye on those storms. It may still stay dry for tonight. We do have chances of storms continuing for the next couple of days, and some of these could be strong to severe. So tomorrow we've got a low to elevated risk of storms. That elevated risk is mostly for our counties out in Missouri towards Springfield, and then we've got an elevated risk for all of our counties on Thursday, meaning 4th of July. Unfortunately, we're going to have some storms. We'll go ahead and take a look at the future track. So this is the line of storms that is moving in currently, 11:30 p.m. It's going to continue to shift in, but break up as it moves into the area. Some widespread showers possible, but overall looking pretty good. Now, storms continue to kick off Wednesday morning. We've got that same line of storms likely retreating, then moving back into the area, bringing us a few more isolated thunderstorm chances through Wednesday morning, and then scattered showers throughout the day. It's going to be isolated and widely scattered throughout Wednesday morning. Then we'll have a little bit of a break before we get another round of storms and rain showers into the afternoon and overnight hours on Wednesday. So this is 5:30 p.m., some heavier rain, and then we also see some isolated thunderstorms in those southern counties. Now, this is going to continue for the overnight hours, isolated thunderstorms, widespread showers, but then we move into Thursday. We'll have a break for most of the day, but then we see some pretty strong storms starting to kick back off, and this is 5 p.m. on Thursday. We'll go ahead and look at the long-range model, what we've got going on. 5:30, we've got that line of storms again moving through, so this is a secondary cold front, and this is really going to drop our temperatures down on Friday down to mid-80s. So these will continue into the area pretty strong, pretty severe. We've got a few isolated storms that could become severe as we get a little bit closer to this event. So this is 6:30 p.m. These storms are going to continue. Main threat is likely going to be wind and damaging hail as well. Now, you can see Joplin Metro getting rain pretty much from 5 till 9 p.m. A few more isolated thunderstorms are going to continue after 11, but overall not too bad. Now, we do cool off after that. 86 on Friday, 90 Saturday. We're back to about average temperatures for the next week.
Oh boy, we don't really want above average temperatures for the short term at all, and we don't want any thunderstorms on the 4th of July.
I'm right there with you, Dow.
Thanks. Coming up, car dealerships nationwide struggle to recover after a cyber attack hit a key software system.
What?
A federal appeals court is going to allow a central part of President Biden's student debt repayment plan to move forward. It lowers from 10 to 5% the amount some borrowers who qualify for a repayment plan need to pay. The ruling is temporary, so it's unclear if the financial terms could change in the future, The Supreme Court struck down the Biden administration's original loan program earlier this year. More than half of U.S. car dealerships are still struggling to deal with a cyber attack that crippled a key software system and hampered their ability to sell the cars. Hackers struck the software provider CDK Global about 2 weeks ago, holding its system for ransom. GD Power estimates the attack might have caused June retail sales to drop more than 5% compared to last year. Anna Werner has been following this story.
This New Jersey Lexus dealership shows off its shiny new cars as usual, but owner Tom Maioli says the cyber attack has slowed sales.
How much do you think it might cost you? Do you have any sense at all?
I don't have a number on it yet, and we're trying to calculate that, but I can tell you right now our sales, just on the new car sales, we're down 50% this month.
Many dealerships like his run with the help of dealer management system software from company CDK Global. The software helps to run service departments, process financing for car purchases, and more. But hackers locked up the system at some 15,000 dealerships nationwide, demanding a ransom reported by Bloomberg to be in the millions of dollars to release it. Tyson Jomini is with JD Power.
The DMS system that's been targeted in this attack is the backbone of an automotive dealership. It basically links together all the new vehicle, used vehicle sales, along with the finance office, and even down to the service department. So consumers right now may even be having trouble getting oil changes and getting warranty work done at a dealership as a result of this impact.
On Monday, Ernest and Luann Einholz came to Maioli's Lexus dealership to buy a new SUV, but sat and waited as finance manager Tony Carlucci, deprived of his usual fast software system, typed in information by hand, even giving them a paper receipt.
We didn't expect too much of a delay, but we've been here since, when?
About 10-ish.
10 o'clock this morning, yeah.
And it's now 2:30, quarter 3.
Since the system has been down, it's been taking at least double the amount of time for us to do everything we need to do.
CDK Global would not say whether it had paid the ransom demanded by the hackers. It told CBS News it's continuing its restoration process and rapidly bringing dealers live on the dealer management system, and expects all dealer connections to be live by the morning of July 4th. Owner Maioli says he has no choice but to wait, but says he's losing money in the process.
But you're still smiling somehow.
Well, you know, what could you do?
The Einholzes waited too until their sales transaction was finished, driving off in that new SUV some 6 hours after they arrived.
So what do you do if you're in the market for a new car and you don't want to sit for hours? Well, remember, not all dealerships use this software, so you might be able to find another option for buying a car. Or if you're not in a rush, just wait a week or two, since CDK Global does say it expects to have its system up and running again by the holiday. Mechanics for Canadian airline WestJet have agreed to end a strike that canceled travel plans for tens of thousands over a long holiday weekend in the country. The union is expected to vote on a temporary agreement which was not made public. The strike started Friday night and caused the cancellation of hundreds of flights. Sweden will now allow grandparents to be paid parental leave to take care of their grandchildren for up to 3 months of a child's first year of life. The country allots 16 months of parental leave per child, and some of that can be allocated to grandparents. Sweden was the first nation 50 years ago to introduce paid parental leave for fathers as well as mothers. Up next, we're going to learn why Boston's public transit system is adding googly eyes to some of its vehicles. Seems Boston's mass transit agency has listened to riders and responded. That's why anyone who rides a train or trolley in the city might see this. Yes, those are googly eyes you see there. An organized campaign asked Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority to install them. The agency looked into it and says it found a way to safely apply them. The MBTA put googly eyes on only 5 vehicles. The agency says it hopes to bring moments of joy to riders and maybe to you at home. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. The Oklahoma Attorney General gives his thoughts on the authority of the state superintendent to decide the content of school curriculums. Plus, how you can prevent your home from being burgled while you're away on vacation.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Dow Quick. A new twist in Oklahoma's Bibles in School debate. The Oklahoma State Attorney General says the state superintendent does not have the legal authority to decide what is taught in public schools. Now, last week, you might recall, State Superintendent Ryan Walter said teachers must teach from the Bible. But now the AG's office says in an email, the superintendent does not have the legal authority to decide content of curriculum and says Oklahoma law clearly enshrines local control. One Oklahoma school board member had this to say.
We're going to make decisions as a school board, not myself personally, but as a board, of what kind of curriculum and what kind of things students are going to be using in the classroom.
Superintendent Walter says they'll mandate the curriculum regardless of the Attorney General's thoughts. Authorities say a police officer in Oklahoma City is recovering after being shot today. Police arrived at a home in Oklahoma City to find a man holding a gun to someone's head. That man barricaded himself inside the home with 2 women and 3 children. Authorities say during a standoff, an officer was struck by gunfire from inside that home. Officers returned fire and the suspect was shot.
An officer was able to discharge his firearm, striking the suspect. The suspect was determined to be deceased here at the scene. Officers were able to go into the house and get everyone out that was inside that house, determined that they are all okay at this time.
The officer who was shot was taken to a nearby hospital and is doing well after undergoing surgery. In Springfield, a domestic violence hotline recently answered its 100,000th call. That hotline started in 1978, and for nearly 50 years, it's been a vital resource for people in need. Chris Bryant has more from the Harmony House.
The hotline started in 1978, and over the last 46 years, those 100,000 calls averages more than 2,100 per year.
One of the messages we always convey is that if you or someone you know is going through an abusive situation, please call us. We want to talk to you. Even if shelter isn't what you need right now, that's just one piece of what Harmony House provides to the community. So having someone to talk to, having an advocate that's trained to listen and ask the right questions and help you through that situation, wherever you are in that situation, that's what we want people to do.
The hotline is answered 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Harmony House has seen a 30% increase in calls year after year.
And finding that way to connect that resource to others, whether it's having businesses promote that, it's promoted in schools, it's promoted on the internet now. I think with the evolution of obviously communication tools that are available to everybody, awareness has grown, and so the calls have grown. So I think you'd see much smaller numbers leading up to the last 10 to 15 years even.
Jared Alexander is the executive director of Harmony House. He says improvements with communication and advocacy have helped increase the public's knowledge of the hotline and connecting those in need with resources available.
We all know somebody that is going through this right now, and having the awareness of where the resources like Harmony House exist and how you can connect those people that you love to those resources, that's the most important piece.
Harmony House services and programs are free and confidential.
There's also a nationwide helpline for people dealing with domestic violence. You see it on the screen there. You can call 1-800-799-7233 anytime, any day, 24/7. It's vacation season, which means thieves are looking to take advantage of empty homes. But police say there are some things you can do to reduce the risk of your home being burglarized while you're traveling. Be sure all doors and windows are locked before you leave. You should also take steps to make sure your home looks occupied, like maybe having someone pick up your mail and move your trash can for a regular pickup. Also arrange for lawn care while you're away.
People that are out looking to commit burglaries, they're looking for signs that maybe looks like a home's vacant or not occupied. So certainly a pile of mail or something would definitely be a clue that someone's not frequenting that address.
You can also invest in security systems that link with your phone so you can be alerted to any movement inside your home. Lieutenant Penrose says if you see signs that someone has been in your home, you should stay outside and dial 911. A bit later, how the Muskogee Nation is trying to preserve its native language.
Well, it's getting cooler out there as we go into the overnight hours. We do have some storms possibly moving in today. We'll go ahead and take a look at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. A little cloudy, a little breezy tonight, but overall not too bad. We are still dealing with heat advisories tomorrow for our southern counties due to heat indices getting up to triple digits again, unfortunately. Although the rest of us are going to stay relatively cool. Now, it's not super cool, but it's relatively cool to what we've been dealing with the last couple of days. Now, we had a line of storms, cold front moving through. You can kind of see a few more pop-up little thunderstorms starting to push into the area. It did break up for a while, so we stayed mostly dry. We do have still some possible storms near Ponca City that are going to continue to move in, possibly clipping some of our southern counties as well. Most of these storms are mainly dealing with wind threats, so wind damage. There was a lot of damage out near Wichita as well due to the winds. Power outages due to trees falling down, power lines going out. So if we get some of these storms, main threat is going to be wind damage. Now, over the next couple of days, we've got a low to elevated risk tomorrow. Mostly that elevated risk is for some counties closer to Springfield out in Missouri. Now, on Thursday, it is a widely elevated risk across all of our counties due to severe weather. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our future track. We've got these storms, isolated showers and thunderstorms still pushing through the area. Those are going to continue all the way through early Wednesday morning. That boundary retreats a little bit and then it starts to move back into the area southeast through the area in the morning. Again, we're still going to be dealing with some isolated thunderstorms, isolated showers most of the morning on Wednesday. So this is about 9:30 in the morning. Not as widespread, but we're still seeing a few isolated storms there. These chances continue all the way through the afternoon. So this is 2:30 mostly. That's main part of the storm moving through Kansas City, so north of us, but we're still probably going to get a few remnants of that storm. And then as we move into the afternoon, evening hours, we've got some more pop-up thunderstorms. You can see down in Veneta, there's a nice strong storm there too as well. Those are going to continue through the area. The storm that was in Veneta may be making its way through Joplin through late Wednesday night, and then continuing on into the early morning hours on Thursday. So these chances, like I said, continue well into the week, even through 4th of July. So we've got a line of storms. Again, another cold front making its way on Thursday, really going to drop those temperatures down on Friday. Now, some of these storms could be strong or severe. We see a severe storm popping up right there. Main threat again, wind damage, hail as well. These are going to continue for the next several hours, starting at 5 p.m. on Thursday all the way until about 9 p.m. on Thursday. We still might have some few isolated storms continuing into the overnight hours on Thursday, but mainly we're focused on that window 5 to about 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's when a lot of people are going to be wanting to be out setting off fireworks.
Unfortunately, Lindsay. I know, but you know, the ground will get wet, and then after 10 p.m. the storms are gone. You can light fireworks, and there's not a threat for fires.
Okay, maybe we'll go with that anyway. Thanks. Hey, migrating gray whales have been putting on a show in Northern California for the last few years, and now scientists are trying to learn more about their behavior. Researchers at the Marine Mammal Center in San Francisco have been taking and reviewing thousands of photographs as a way to catalog gray whales that come into San Francisco Bay in search of food. Over the years, some have washed up on beaches dying of starvation or injuries from ships. Scientists say the grays seem to start their long migration from the Arctic underfed, and often they run out of fuel as they try to return. Coming up in sports, a former Missouri Southern Lion earns a spot in the 2024 Summer Olympics. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws are at home this afternoon to take on the Sherman Shadowcats. John Dales has those stories and more. It's all coming up next.
It's been a big week for NEO men's basketball. Not only does the team host its youth camp, but the Golden Norsemen also saw one of their alumni get picked in the second round of the NBA draft. It's day 2 of the NEO men's basketball youth camp. The Golden Norseman coaches and players lead a morning session for 6 through 11-year-olds, then an afternoon group of kids aged 12 to 16. This comes just under a week after former Golden Norseman Jonathan Mogbo is selected by the Toronto Raptors with the 31st overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft.
Him being the first pick in the second round was huge, especially going into, we're finishing up our recruiting session right now, and so bringing in kids, it's big time to tell them that, you come here, you can reach the highest levels of college basketball, and not even do that, make it to the National Basketball Association as well. That's every kid's dream, is to make it to the NBA, so to help them do that, it's amazing for us.
The Joplin Outlaws are in action early today at Joe Becker Stadium. They host the Sherman Shadowcats after losing 3 of the 4 home games against the Fort Smith Marshals over the weekend. 12:05 start time this afternoon. Outlaws at home taking on the Sherman Shadowcats, who were in last place in the Mid-America League entering today. Xavier Fossbender gets the start on the mound for Joplin. He gets a strikeout swinging in the first, then another in the second. He'd finish the day with 7 of those. Outlaws bats come to life in the 5th. Andres Garcia gets things started with this deep fly over the head of the center fielder, rolls to the wall. 2 runs will score. Outlaws up 6-3. Later in the inning, Outlaws keep the line moving. Ravon Morgan at the plate. He singles into right field. Garcia comes around to score. It's a 7-3 Joplin lead, still in the bottom of the 5th. Same frame, couple batters later. Andre Jackson hits a line shot into left field. Morgan and Cale Good both score. Outlaws get back in the win column at home. They beat Sherman 14-3, improved their record to 10-4 in games played at Joe Becker Stadium. A former Missouri Southern Lion will be representing his country in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. Rajendra Campbell will be competing for Team Jamaica in Paris after taking first place in the shot put at the Jamaica Olympic Trials. Now, Campbell was at Missouri Southern from 2019 to 2021. He's the indoor school record holder in shot put, ranks 2nd all-time in outdoor shot put and discus throw. Since graduating, he's gone on to win the 2023 Jamaican national title in shot put. Over to Major League Baseball, Cardinals on the road tonight in Pittsburgh. They beat the Pirates 7-4. St. Louis opened up a 6-0 lead in the 4th inning when Nolan Gorman hit a grand slam. Kyle Gibson picks up the win on the mound for the Redbirds. These 2 NL Central rivals play each other again tomorrow night. Over to the American League, Royals are at home this evening against the Rays. Kansas City trails 1-0 in the top of the 6th inning, but the game currently in a rain delay. And because 5 innings have already been played, Major League Baseball could declare this game over, but for now, we still await a decision from the umpiring crew. That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
Learn it or lose it. That's the reality for the Muskogee Nation as they take measures to preserve their native language, a language spoken by fewer than 400 people worldwide. Kaylee Carnine has more on the sense of urgency for the tribe.
The director of the Muskogee Language Program, Eli Roland Chang, says learning a language is easier when it's bright and fun, but at times, the history of the Muskogee language has been dark and unkind.
Our elders, they were forced into boarding schools where they weren't allowed to speak Muskogee, and they were punished for speaking English. And then those that didn't get forced into a boarding school, even at their public schools, their teachers would punish them for speaking in their native languages.
Now, the Muskogee Nation looks to heal while revitalizing the love of the language.
Lose our language, we lose who we are.
As someone who started learning the Muskogee language in college, Roland Chang looks for creative ways to continue the culture. She creates these bright posters with Muskogee vocab words and phrases. She's gotten language curriculum into 30 different public schools. The language program also just launched Zoom classes that are open to everyone and a new website.
A student has to want to learn it because they don't have to survive in our reservation.
Roland Chang says she's proud of Muskogee youth for stepping up and getting excited to learn.
The College of the Muskogee Nation also just launched a Muskogee Dictionary app to help people learn the language. It can be downloaded on Apple and Android devices. Coming up, if you can't wait to return to the Land of Oz, well, we have some good news for you. We're going to tell you why the new Wicked movie is closer than you think. Hey, good news for fans of The Wizard of Oz. A prequel movie is going to be here sooner than you think. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
You're the one the wizard has been waiting for.
Wicked fans won't have to wait quite as long to see the film on the big screen. Universal has moved the musical up 5 days to November 22nd. That means instead of opening opposite Moana 2, like Wicked, aimed largely at a female audience, it'll debut opposite Gladiator 2, which figures to draw mainly male ticket buyers.
It's nice you're not on your phone. See a human, not plugged in. It says a lot about you.
I like to think so.
Sean Penn and Dakota Johnson see each other mostly through the cab's rearview mirror in Daddy-O. Writer-director Christy Hall says, going over the script at Penn's house, he put that dynamic into action.
He grabbed a hand mirror and duct taped it to a broom and duct taped that to a chair. And then he sat in front of it with a chair, and then Dakota was sitting on the couch behind him. And then they were like, okay, let's just get this in our bones a little bit. Of course, Dakota and I were giggling a little bit because it was so amazing.
Daddy-O is now in theaters. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of capybaras enjoying some frozen treats in Russia. Let's make it a great tomorrow.